Hi everyone, it's Rena and welcome back to my channel. Today marks the first day of me doing the VTubing Academy. So I'm going to be teaching you the ins and outs of VTubing and how to create your character from creating your own persona. Let's get started with chapter 1, which would be creating your own Vroid character. I have done this video, something like this in the past, but I'm going to go through the whole process again because there's new people being added to the community and it's better to update than rewatching some old footage where it doesn't relate to you. So let's get started. So I'm going to switch over to my desktop view. All right, and I'm going to skip over some minor details. I'm assuming that you have already got Vroid Studios downloaded. If you don't, or have never come across this software, welcome. This is Vroid Studios, and if you were wondering how to find it, you're just going to go down into the description. I'm going to put a link there, and you can install it from the website. But if you want a step-by-step process of how that works, I will have a link in the iCards up above, and you can follow along with my previous video. So once you've got this installed, next thing that you're going to create is your character. So you're going to select a character model that you would want to create, male or female. It really doesn't matter. It's up to you. So we're going to start from there. I picked a female and we are going to edit this avatar. Alright, okay, hear me out. I want to use Crash Course, but that's already a channel name, so we're going with Clash Course. So I'm just, trying to help you out here with a recap of what I taught you in the previous videos. Okay, back to the video. So you have your presets, and then you have your parameters on the right. Presets left, parameters right. You have your categories on the top. So your face, hair, body, outfits, accessories, and then looks is just to change the boneworks, eye alignments, shadowing, and then the extra outlines or lighting that you want to change for your model. So I'm going to skip ahead to a character model that is suited for what I'm looking to create. Okay, so now I have the character set to how I would like it to look for just basic modifications. So basically I just went through some of the presets. The only thing I did add was the eye irises. I can show you how to make your own irises. I just went with my own for now. I will do that in another chapter. So we're gonna go through the face, adding some basic details such as the lips, the nose, and basic shadowing outlining of the face. So I'm gonna go into the skin and we are going to press edit. All right, so currently this character does have a blush preset on, a lip preset on, and a nose blush kind of preset going on. Okay, so one thing I just did just now was adjust the width of the nose. I don't like the anime style nose, so I'm going to create a new layer because we're going to be making my own variations of noses. I do have video up on my channel of different types of noses, so I'm just going to do a speed run of this and then you can just follow along and watch. But first, what I usually do is create my little color map of what colors would work best for this type of character that I'm drawing with. Okay, so like I said before, I just picked some shades from the face just to create a color pattern that I want to work with. So I've already went through this in a great detail in the past in the video that I mentioned prior. So I'm just going to go a brief overview is creating a U shape and then creating two C's around that U, and then do a lot of blending and blurring out in order to make it look like a nose and with some highlight. That's pretty much it. All right, next would be the lips. So using that same color combination, I just kept the color from this. I might just keep these still on. So as you can see for the lips, I just took the basic outline of one of the skin color palettes that I had on the side there, drew like a cupid's bow, and then kept the texture from the original skin look, and just doing outlines and then blurring it out. Because the softer the lines are, the more realistic and gentle they look. So it has faint coloring, but it's still there enough that you can still tell we have an outline, and then we can always change around the lip sizing. So I'm quite happy with that. I think I might add, I like how I said I was happy with it, but then I'm like, I'm going to add something. So I'm going to add a bit of a darker outline around the lower lip. And keep it like that. Just a bit of an outline. I think I might try to blur out slightly, not too much. I don't want it to completely blend and disappear. There we go. So I'm going to keep that the same. So now we have a lip outline, and then next we're going to learn how to do just the face shadowing. So where you want light to be shining and where you would have shadows on your face. So usually around this portion of the eye. So I'm going to create a new layer around the portion of your eyes here. You would have a bit of a shadow. So I'm going to take this color that we have right here. Hello? Yes. With a big brush size, but that's still feathered. Making sure that it is mirrored. That's the word I'm looking for. So she looks like she's tired because it's obviously like the double rings. But this is the area that we'd want light shadowing. So we're going to add a bit of smudging in that area. So I'm just going to move up here. So it's a bit easier to blur that out. We don't want any harsh lines. And that just creates a little bit of depth around the eye. This tutorial is going to be very beginner friendly, so we're not going to add too much depth. We still want it to be easy to understand how to create these characters. So the next area usually we'll have some shadowing is around the forehead. So we're going to take a big brush, a little bit bigger than that. I'm going to draw it right on the model here. And just around the hairline, that's gonna be there. If you're a person who puts on makeup, you should kind of understand where you would normally have your shadowing. It's literally the same areas that you would put your bronzer. So usually around there and around the jawline. So those are our main areas that we'd want to focus. And then once again, we'll just do a blurring it out. I'm just gonna switch to a smaller brush. We're gonna zoom out of this area. It looks a little funny on the UV map. I don't know where I'm moving my mouse because I didn't realize I was in the wrong camera screen. So I'm just gonna blur this out. And depending on how you have your character's head size, you might want to bring this line to be a bit farther back, or if they have a more of a narrow head, you want to probably make it a bit smaller, not as forthcoming. All right, that's pretty much the basics of that. Once you're happy with how that looks, you can erase your little outline of color wheels. I'm just gonna do that now. So that's basically how you make the face. So I'm gonna save that. We're gonna overwrite this save. If it's not a new item, it will create as a new item. All right, so now we have our character model. If you're not a fan of that nose, you can always go into this, pick out different highlights. So you can have it like that, where there's nothing. Oh, there's a little tip there. Always make it a little bit lighter too. I think what I'm going to also do is change around the lip size. So I want it to be a little bit of a fuller lip, a bit wider. There we go. All right, so now that we have that done, let's go over briefly how to do irises. So I'm going to show you the beginner way of doing them. If you don't want to use any of their presets, beginner way. You basically follow along with an outline that's similar to this. So what I usually do, I'm lazy, so I will usually take like a black, make the brush size, oh yeah, make sure mirroring's on, make sure that the brush size is relatively the same to the image in the middle here. I apologize, you probably hear a lot of planes flying around. Just means it's more fun for me to edit, right?
Nope.
Yes, exactly. Okay, so now we have completely black irises, and then we want to add in a color. So I want to make her eyes blue. Pick a blue shade that you like. I'm gonna put that like on the outline around. I like the little black border that it gives me, so with the black on the outside and the blue on the inside, so I usually keep it that way. Whoops. Oh my gosh. Okay, so then we have that, and then we're gonna go back to a darker color in the middle. You can either do like a navy blue. This part you might want to take off mirroring, because obviously each iris is going to be slightly different. You don't want them to look exactly identical. I don't know about that color. Yeah. Okay, I'm just gonna go over to this side and do the same. Cool, and then we are going to bring back that same original blue and have it being a little bit of a fade. Make the brush a little bit smaller. I'm gonna do a crossing like so, a little rounded. Like so, it's a little rounded. Okay, and then we can add in a little bit of intricate details. So depending on what shade of blue you want, you can add in a bit of like a line. It's easier when you do have a drawing tablet. I've mentioned that many times in previous videos, that all of this is done on my drawing tablet as I'm creating these characters. It makes life a little bit easier. I'm going to blur that line just a bit so it's not as harsh. Okay, and then you can add in some little highlights. If you want, it would probably be smart to add your highlights on a separate layer, so you're not, when you're blurring it out, it doesn't bleed into the second one, the first layer. Usually I add like a couple of dots. And then I'm going to add a shade on the top. So usually your eyes are a little bit darker on the top part. So we're going to go back to the same blue family. And I'm going to shift it to make it a bit of a purpley color. I'm going to take a fader brush. That's what I'm going to call that one. Make it bigger. I'm going to put back on mirroring. We're just going to shadow in that portion of the eye to wherever you like it to be, and then we're just going to blur in those harsh lines in the middle section. I'm just going to make my brush a little bit smaller. There we go. So it's different shades of blue, and that's basically what that would look like to make eyes very simply in Vroid. Usually when I do make my eyes, I usually do them in a different software. Yeah, that's pretty much the end of that sentence. Just do them in a different software. And then for these highlights, you can either blur them or you can keep them the same. I'm going to see what it looks like if I blur it out a little bit. Yeah, whatever, it's fine. And then if you want, you can do an outline if you don't like that it's not as detailed for the iris. So for example, go back to like a blackish kind of color. It would help if it wasn't in the fade mode, but a nice thin brush line. I know my hand is really shaky, but that's okay because we're gonna blur that out so it's not as noticeable. And that's basically how you do eyes in Vroid. Next, we are... Actually, I think I'm going to leave that here for today's video, and then the next one we will go into how to change over the hair using the presets that's already given to us and make it our own. So I will see you in the next one. Take care. Bye.